Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2023 Meyers Manx 2.0 EV. So yes, this is the first ever new Meyers Manx in over 50 years, and 50 of these will initially be made, as these are kind of like, you know, pre-production kind of vehicles, just to see what people think of them and see how they go in the eyes of the public. And yeah, they aren't cheap though. They're around $74,000 a piece, so yeah, by no means a cheap everyday kind of vehicle, but definitely something that would be suitable for, you know, everyday, off weekend recreational activities or anything like that. And you'd have to no worries in terms of the overall range, because it's got 300 miles claimed range, which is, yeah, quite a lot. And that's because it's stuck to the basics of the Meyers Manx original. To be honest, it's not got much in it to go wrong. In fact, it's probably got even less to go wrong with it now because it's electric. As yeah, those old Volkswagen, you know, air-cooled engines weren't particularly the most reliable of engines, and yet this has electric power, so yeah, it's got even less to go wrong in that regard. And yeah, no real extras on the interior, just the one dial, which has the speedometer around it. I'm pretty sure the speedometer around that is fake, because there is a digital speedometer in there as well, but regardless, it's, yeah, very simple, very basic. Even the roof looks like it comes out with only a couple of screws and straps. As you can see, there's a couple of strap or two around the roll bar there that will stay in place even without the roof, and then you got like one or two screws around the on the either side of the windscreen as well. So yeah, the roof would come out, but it looks cool with the roof on it regardless. And yeah, I like the look of the car overall. It's got all of the retro elements to it of the original. You know, you got those wheels, you got the rear headlights, and then you got those two bug-eyed lights at the front still. And yeah, basically looks like a restomod to me. Although obviously this is a far more professional job because it's going to have well more than just one being made. So yeah, and yeah, the power it's got going on is reasonable as well. It's got 200 horsepower and 240 pounds-feet of torque from two electric motors, which are in rear mounted, so for one for each rear wheel. And yeah, they're powered by 40 kilowatt hour of batteries. So yeah, not the most powerful of batteries by any means, but because this only weighs 1,650 pounds, which is only 415 more than originally, that is, yeah, plenty of power, quite frankly, and it means that it's able to go further than other cars that would have a similar sized battery because of how lightweight it is. And therefore, yeah, the batteries aren't under as much strain or anything like that to perform. So yeah, overall a really good looking car, a good looking one, and one that is usable, and by no means a a shoddy one-off or anything like that. As you can see, it's got the kind of suspension you need for going off-road. It's got fat wide tyres at the rear, reasonably wide tyres at the front, and because it still weighs very little, it's a quick car in a straight line, but it's also more than usable on and off-road. So let's get out there nonetheless and see what this car can do. So yeah, being electric, it's not going to have the highest of top speeds, especially with only 200 horsepower, but let's see what it can do nonetheless on this drag strip before we hit the speed camera. Then we'll go on a little bit of an off-road course, and then we'll also go around the track. So yeah, being an EV, the power is there pretty much instantaneously, and that torque is not being wasted whatsoever because of the lack of weight. It's easily the lightest EV we've ever had on this game, and it's no slouch in terms of top speed either, as you can see. Got to 120 mile an hour there before we hit the speed camera. Right, so let's see what we can do around this little bit of an off-road course, and then we'll get it around the track, because surprisingly this is also capable of being pretty quick around the track as well as going off-road, so it's quite versatile. Granted, it's not the most practical of cars. You have got a little bit of luggage space behind the driver and passenger, but obviously you are only going to be able to carry two people properly, and I doubt it would be the safest of cars in a crash either, just like the original. But as a recreational vehicle, as something that you can just take up a hiking trail or go off-roading or green laning or anything like that, it's, yeah, really capable, as you can see. And that electric power means you're not going to have to worry about oil pans splitting at the while going over any rough surfaces. You're not going to worry about the car overheating or anything like that. And even though obviously the range would be something that might cause some anxiety because it's a little bit less predictable than, say, how long the combustion engine is going to last. If it is going to be able to last at least 300 miles, that is going to be more than enough for most people, quite frankly. So, yeah, and at the end of the day, this is also capable of fast charging as well, with 60 kilowatt hour fast charging units, which should mean that you get this car charged up in less than half an hour. So, yeah, which is, you know, plenty of time to, you know, do whatever you want and then move on with your journey. So, no issues whatsoever in that regard. No issues with the performance either, which we'll get to when we get on the track. But yeah, it's a really rather fun car to drive. Far more fun than the original car to drive was. Although granted, that did have, you know, limitations, so you have to take it into that context of its limitations. But still, this is, yeah, not just an improvement over the original, but also a really rather unique EV in general in comparison to the competition. Because yeah, no one else is doing anything like this, especially in terms of just how lightweight and simple and simplistic it is. And yeah, unlike a lot of modern cars where, you know, they're follow up on an older car, this is nowhere near as complicated as those are. In fact, like I said, I feel like it's a even more basic car than the original is. So yeah, stats wise, as you can see, it's all fairly good. Braking and handling are decent for a car of this type. Acceleration and launch are quite great, and the top speed is fairly good as well, matching the likes of the Rivians that we've seen before on this game. So in terms of top speed, despite the massive difference in power. So yeah, let's get this around the track. We'll see what the car sounds like. Obviously, being electric, it's not going to make the most amount of noise, but it does make some noise, and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, it does have those off-road tyres, or those at least off-road orientated tyres, which mean it's not got the most amount of grip on the tarmac, but it's manageable, especially with those rear motors working in tandem to distribute the power wherever it needs it to be. Would obviously be even better if it had all-wheel drive, maybe, but then you'd need extra weight, and that would just spoil the whole aspect of what a Meyers Manx is all about. And I imagine even with rear-wheel drive, due to those massive rear tyres and the suspension, that this isn't going to struggle with, you know, most off-road courses. So yeah, although all-wheel drive might be preferential for more everyday kind of uses and general off-road use, it would, like I said, spoil the whole spirit of this car. And at the end of the day, it's still manageable in terms of handling. You just really have to get used to the fact it's not got quite the amount of grip that you might be used to for a modern electric car. Acceleration wise, is really, really good. 0 to 60 is dealt with in 3.983 seconds. 0 to 100 is dealt with in 10.881 seconds, and it will to a top speed of 124 miles an hour, which, like I said, matches the Rivians with their 800 odd horsepower extra. So yeah, as far as recreational off-road vehicles go, this is no slouch in terms of its acceleration. And yeah, it's definitely quicker than the original, as that could only do about 89 miles an hour and would struggle to get to 60 in less than 11 seconds. So yeah, we're now doing 0 to 100 in this car quicker than that car could ever do 0 to 60, which does show just how much extra power this has. In fact, we have 140 extra horsepower and 158 extra pounds-feet of torque, while yeah, only weighing 415 pounds more, which isn't a large amount of extra horsepower, quite frankly, given how heavy batteries typically are. But because they've kept it sensible in terms of the power output, it doesn't weigh anywhere near as much as it could have done. If they'd have put a 60 kilowatt hour battery, or the ludicrous amount of batteries that they're putting the likes of the Rimax and the like, then obviously this would be stupidly powerful, but it would also be well overweight. So yeah, the fact they've kept it underweight, or yeah, well underweight in comparison to some EVs, while still keeping the general look of the car, general spirit of the car from the original is really rather excellent, and yeah, they've done a bang up job as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, you can get this car by getting 20 points in the festival playlist. Doesn't take very long to get those amount of points at all, and yeah, this is well worth getting this car because it's utterly unique in this game. And yeah, it's really rather fun to drive at that as well. So yeah, but nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.